So on personal business down there. So I'm saying, as a sitting judge, that we're reconvening this court, and we want all witnesses to come back and re-engage with the court, and we're calling for all witnesses now to around the world who want to bring their evidence to submit it, and they can contact us, as we said, at our address, which is tribunal@911warcrimestribunal.org. We'll have this all clearly marked in the video of this program, but I want to, because we're at now 22:22. That's 22 minutes after 10. I want to keep on going with some of the programs. So now the other evidence that was presented was very advanced, which showed that the flights which supposedly crashed into the Pentagon and crashed into Pennsylvania did not exist. All of those flights don't exist.
Well, that's what I said earlier. I mean,
they're all phony. They're all fake.
Well, that's what I was trying to say earlier. I was like, how can we have a Malaysia flight, bust up in the middle of the air and crash, and we got, wreckage everywhere, dead bodies everywhere, but yet a plane that supposedly gets taken down by some terrorists with box cutters over Pennsylvania, and we have a huge hole in the ground, but yet we have nothing, not even a small little piece of flight wreckage in Pennsylvania at all. And then, of course, when you've got the Pentagon, and this is something that I ousted back when you and I did the interview in regards to the reptilian agenda and the whole thing with the St. Paul incident that took place, when I started telling everybody that, this had something, that these were drones or possible missiles that were put, and they happened to have the logos of the actual aircraft, but they were actually missiles that were thrown into the Pentagon. Because, I mean, this airspan, this wingspan going into the Pentagon made no sense.
Right. And that's an additional bit of evidence, is that we had witnesses who came up with very excellent studies that demonstrated the FBI agents going around and destroying all of the film from the cameras and confiscating all of the film from the security cameras that were filming the supposed place where the airliner supposedly hit the Pentagon.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling to me. I mean, even and here's the thing: it's like I sit here and we know that I'm going to California State University. We have people that are still asleep on this, and they still want to believe that it was a bunch of terrorists that were. And these terrorists, here's the thing: even these so-called terrorists that were supposed to be on the planes that went into the Trade Center, they show up in Germany.
Right.
What? It irritates me how they think how dumb we are, how the governments think how dumb we are, but yet we don't do anything. We've been talking about this now for 10, 13 years now.
Yeah.
And we're about the same. People are still thinking the same. Everybody's still on the offense. Even though we've presented evidence, even architects for 9/11. Here are civil engineers that are stating no way did a plane go through these towers and brought them down the way they did. I mean, in 1979, I was just telling one of our hosts here on KBeach, in 1979 in Minneapolis, a Norwest Bank building, built in, I think, like the 1950s or whatever. It was a towering inferno. It from the 40th floor to the 50th floor, I think it was on fire. I mean, it was a blazing inferno. That building stood fine. Just fine. And now we are supposed to believe that a plane goes into the World Trade Center and brings down, and it looked like a controlled demolition too. as it goes down. And then we have the whole thing with Building 7, which is another thing that 98% of the people out there do not even know about because they don't talk about it. And then we have CNN, and we've got all of these, news outlets, these mainstream news outlets that are feeding us this information. And some of it, talking about the holographic technology, we've got, we'll be right back here. 32 degrees of insanity. It's 10:26 in the PM. We'll be right back. Little Alfred Weber and myself.
Monkey Radio, Tom and Ramon. Saturdays on Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, guys and gals, it is 10:31 in the PM, September 11, 2014. You are listening to KBeach 88.1 FM, HD3, right here in Long Beach, Los Angeles, kbeach.org. You're also listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network, where we are broadcasting live all over the world. And tonight we have our special guest, Alfred Weber, joining me again. We had a great show about a month ago in regards to the Ebola virus. If you would like to listen to that show, you can always go to my website, guys, at www.32degreesofinsanity.com. And it's my blog on WordPress. And you can just go down and take a look at all of the different things that I write about. And I bring up some very interesting stuff. And if you want to follow us on Facebook, we have a Facebook that kind of runs itself. We have outstanding people that contribute to the Facebook page, stuff that you won't ever find in the mainstream media we have going on the Facebook. So it's really easy to find us on Facebook. It's www.facebook.com. The number 32 Degrees of Insanity, really easy. Or you can just join us on our like page, which is www.facebook.com/32 D as in dog, O as in open, I as in idiot, DOI.com. And, I want to, just before we bring Alfred back to the show, and my co-host, Ben, are you there? Maybe Ben's out and about doing his thing.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Hi, Ben. How are you?
Good.
Ben, next week, we're going to have like this roundtable session, me, you, and the general manager of this station. And we are going to, Trey and I had a conversation that just went on for hours and hours. And actually, one of the co-hosts she's sitting out here right now, one of our co-hosts, or one of our hosts of it's on every Monday night at 10 o'clock here on KBeach. It's called Misrepresenting. And she's my new wife. Her and I are getting married. But she wants 80% of my stuff. That she told me. Yeah, she's not half, Eddie, half. But also, I'm reading this thing, and I'm talking about my Facebook. I saw this thing this morning, and I'm going to just read something. We're going to bring Alfred back onto the show here. But it says, former World Bank Senior Counsel says a second species on Earth controls money and religion. And I just want to read this real quick. It goes, former World Bank Senior Counsel Karen Hughes has been making a lot of noise lately, and she recently said something she never said before. She said that a second species on Earth controls money and religion. Many people who have held positions to know that the rest of us might not know have made some very shocking statements lately. For example, Paul Hayer, former Canadian Minister of the National Defense, who was actually at the UFO Disclosure Committee, it was the committee on the UFO Disclosure with Dr. Greer back in Washington, D.C. a couple years back, goes, at the same time, what she says collaborates with a lot of the ancient historical facts and modern-day disclosures of other strange phenomena like UFOs, secret societies, and more. For someone like this to gain credibility as a World Bank whistleblower and then all of a sudden make a comment like this is quite shocking. Although in her interview, she did discredit the idea of extraterrestrials on the planet, which I definitely disagree with, this is an enormous amount of evidence out there that suggests we are not alone, and we have indeed been visited by extraterrestrials. And this falls right into what Alfred and I were talking about just before we went into break. We started talking about, no, these weren't planes that went into the building. They were UFOs. And think about it, guys. If they were some sort of metallic type of metal that we've never seen before, just think, if something like that was to slice through a building, oh yeah, that thing would fall very quickly. And the way that they have described it with the engineers and all of that, that would make a lot of sense to me instead of a plane, which has got a hollow fuselage and it's got a long wingspan. You know, I just saw a movie recently where I watched the movie Flight recently with Denzel Washington, and here you see, you know, this you know, he's rolling on his thing, and you see the plane going into taking off the steeple of the church, and it just falls apart. Well, that's exactly what a plane would do when it goes into a building. It would just fall apart, you know. So we've got a lot of things going on with that. But with that being said, we've got a lot to discuss. We got about 20 more minutes left in the show. So I want to bring Alfred back to the show. Alfred, look at how skinny I've gotten.
I think that you're doing great.
You know, the first time Alfred and I had what they call gastric sleeve surgery done back in December, and I've lost about 100 pounds. I look like a completely different person, don't I, Alfred?
Yep.
You still look good, Alfred. You really do.
Thank you.
Just for an old guy, you know.
Hey.
But
yeah, go ahead.
Let's get back to the meat of the things here, so we don't lose our listeners here.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's get to the meat here.
No. One of our witnesses is a very famous woman who was actually a CIA contractor who had found out about 9/11 prior to the event because she was at various listening posts at the UN. Mm-hmm. And then she was jailed by the CIA and held unconstitutionally. And that is a woman who's extraordinarily courageous. In fact, she's a fellow radio talk show host with you at Truth Frequency Radio, Susan Lindauer. She's a witness of the 9/11 War Crimes Tribunal, Miss Susan Lindauer. And she presented her affidavit for the first time publicly because she wanted us to go to the International Criminal Court. And I said, Susan, we're going to go. And so my being here tonight as judge of the 9/11 War Crimes Tribunal is in furtherance of our commitment to our witness, Susan Lindauer, who is a fellow talk show host of yours at Truth Frequency Radio. Right. We're taking her case to the International Criminal Court by reopening it now, by reopening our session and taking her affidavit to the International Criminal Court. And so I look forward to joint radio sessions to inform the public with both yourself and with Susan. But I wanted to bring you and your listeners up to that point that you at Truth Frequency Radio have such a courageous woman on your staff as part of your hosts.
Programming. Of our hosts, yeah. Well, I mean, we have such an incredible team at Truth Frequency Radio. I mean, we've, you know, the staff that we have are all investigative journalists. They have been in radio for many, many years, and a lot of us have, you know, we went down that mainstream terrestrial type of news, and now we look at it like, okay, we have an opportunity here to really raise the awareness to audiences like California State University in Long Beach, the California State University system. We have an opportunity here, KBeach.org and truthfrequency.com. We have this opportunity to really bring people like you into the picture, Andrew Rizzago, Christopher Everard, Leo Zagami, all of we've been working so hard, and Laura Eisenhower, another one. We've been working so hard, and I was just talking